This is 100 days in Pokemon Scarlet. Day 1 begins as we find ourselves in our bedroom. We get up from our desk and do our morning spin, then wobble our way downstairs. Before long, there's a knock at the door and the director of our new school bursts into our home. Sweetie, why don't you go upstairs for a minute? Your new headmaster and I have some adult things to discuss. Okay. After going upstairs and grabbing our unbelievably dorky hat, we head out front where the director shows us the 3 choices for our starter Pokemon. Up until recently, I have been a very vocal member of the Quaxley Quadrant, but this time around, I had to join the Crocodile crew. I'm sorry, I just saw the final evolutions and had to choose the Crocodile with male pattern baldness. Shouts out to the Croc crew. After we choose our Pokemon, Nimona takes one as well to raise alongside us, and you would think that someone who's a self-proclaimed champion-ranked Pokemon trainer like our friend here would choose the Pokemon that's strong against ours, but no, instead she goes with the grass type. Whatever. From here, Nimona challenges us to a battle down on the beach, and we happily oblige with a swift demolition of her entire career. After that battle, we head out to the first area of the game where we learn to catch Pokemon and proceed to apply that knowledge to every single new Pokemon that we see. After that catching extravaganza, we overhear a Pokemon in distress at the bottom of a cliff. Without any hesitation, we jump right down and use our phone as a parachute. Hey big guy, you want to snack on my Rotom phone? No? Okay. You're lost. After feeding this strange creature our lunch for the day, it leads us through a cave, fending off bullies like it's our older brother in middle school, until we jump out of the cavern and link back up with Nimona. But our new friend is still very unwell, so we head off to get some help. Eventually, we come across an edgy man boy up by the lighthouse. I'm not talking to you two. You can shove off. Oh, I would prefer to shove on, thank you. To battle! After dispatching this stranger's Pokemon, we learn that his name is Arvin, and he's actually the son of the region's Pokemon professor. We also learn that the Pokemon we saved is called Koraidon, and it seems he was the one who let Koraidon get away, because after we give him the beatdown of a lifetime, Arvin gives us its Pokeball and puts us in charge. I will say, not a huge fan of this guy so far. Anyway, after that he shoves off, then we head into the first town of the game, Los Platos. Day 2, we spend catching all the Pokemon we can find in the fields surrounding the town, battling children in the most hilarious suspenders, and testing out the new Let's Go mode that lets your Pokemon roam free, and if you aren't paying attention, they might just go on a killing spree. To end our day, we head back to town for a snack. I mean, what goes better with a mass murder than some delicious ice cream? We have another battle with our rival, who is literally gatekeeping us from getting into school to feed her battling addiction. After porking her brains out with Lechonk, we're able to head into the city of Mesagoza, which is the home of our new school. We explore the city, and before long, we're heading up the stairs to begin our educational journey, but on our way up, we're stopped in our tracks by some grunts from the local criminal organization that goes by the name Team Star. These Team Star grunts are in the process of harassing this nice innocent nerd, so we have no choice but to step in the name of justice. We easily dispatch these goons by putting a funny hat on our pig. Hasta la vista. Okay, that's kind of sick. Anyway, from here, the poor nerd says thank you, then leaves without introducing herself, and we head into school, where we have our first class, which is apparently made up of Nimona and 25 6-year-olds. After learning our ABCs, we get enlisted into the 3 main quest lines of the game. The first is Victory Road, which is your standard 8 gyms into battling the Elite Four. Next is the Path of Legends, which involves teaming up with Arvin to defeat 5 legendary Titan Pokemon that are spread across the region in order to gather a legendary herb called Herba Mystica. And then, just when we thought we were safe from any more random requests, our phone is hacked by a mysterious person that goes by Cassiopeia, and they enlist us into Operation Starfall, which is the process of bringing down Team Star by infiltrating their 5 bases. After an exposition dump of legendary proportions, we head on our way. Daddy Q, please report to the principal's office. I repeat, Daddy Q to the principal's office immediately. What kind of stupid name is Daddy? Oh, is this still on? We head up to the director's office, where we have a video chat with the region's professor, Professor Sada, who teaches us more about our friend Koraidon. Now, after all of that, this mega orientation day is finally over, and we head off to bed in our dorm. It's suddenly the first day of the treasure hunt, which is a part of the curriculum where students are released into the wild to train independently. After the opening ceremony, we're released, but just as we're setting off, the director tells us that the crater of Paldea, which I guess is this gigantic hole in the middle of the map, yeah, that place is super dangerous, and entering is a violation of school rules. Well, I know where I want to go first. Now finally, we're released into the wide world of Paldea. So we begin our preparations for our journey. This game is an almost completely open world, meaning that you can challenge any of the gyms, titans, or team star leaders in any order you please. But each of those things is at a set level, so instead of having a good casual fun time and playing the game as the developers intended, I decided to make it my mission to beat all 8 gyms in the reverse of the intended order. In order to do this, we need to figure out what the actual order is for these gyms. So we scope out the descriptions of the various gym leaders, then narrow our choices down to 3 potential people. The ghost type gym leader, who is, quote, among the very greatest, the psychic type gym leader, who is, quote, a real force even among gym leaders, and the ice type gym leader, who used to be a professional snowboarder, which means he's very cool. And being cool probably means his ice types are very strong. This research and preparation takes us all the way to day 5, where we actually set off to track down the region's greatest gym leader, catch every Pokemon, and hopefully also find some way into that mysterious crater. We begin by heading south of the city to make sure that we caught every Pokemon available in the starting area, which we didn't do, so we further explore this area and catch all sorts of new friends, like Paldea and Wooper, Wiglet, and Wingull. We also spend some time getting acquainted with our new steed, platforming across various pillars and islands, then attempt our first Terra raid, which we unfortunately fail. We head east of the city to continue our exploration. As we're headed out of the gate, we get a call from Arvin, who tells us there's one of those great Titan Pokemon hiding in the canyons to the east. So we keep our eyes peeled as we're making our way through, while also making sure to catch every new Pokemon we come across, like this Go-Goat that we name after my goat, and one of my absolute favorite new Pokemon in the entire game, Knackley. He's just a cute little hunk of salt. How can you not love him? We also head out to the fields beyond the canyon, where we catch a Paldea and Tauros, and finally make our way back into the canyons, where we battle a wild Jigglypuff giving off a strange glowing aura. This turns out to be a wild Terra Pokemon that has the Terra type of water, which means it can terrestrialize in battle and put on a hilarious hat which adds water temporarily as a third type. After a heated battle, we catch this thing as night falls. We come across the gigantic crab titan that Arvin warned us about. Without any hesitation, we head up and take on this great imposing beast. Despite it having eyes that are basically on the back of its head, we manage to get the jump on it, then make quick work of our opponent with some kicks from our fighting type Tauros. After suffering its first defeat, the titan retreats down the side of the cliff and busts open a cave to access a strange glowing herb. It eats said herb and goes absolutely turbo mode. Thankfully, Arvin is here to give us backup, so we're able to defeat this juiced up boy without too much issue. Quick, let's take a look before it comes back. I don't think it's gonna be coming back anytime soon. Or ever. But at least Arvin is able to make a sandwich that is so delicious, Koraidon literally remembers how to run after eating it. After our time in the cave together, we head on our way, but as we do that, it's revealed that Arvin might just have a deep, dark secret. More on that later. We arrive in the beautiful town of Artazan, then spend most of the day exploring the sprawling fields surrounding the town, catching Pokemon like Tandemaus, evolving Peño into a more festive version of itself with a hat. Then we follow the searchlights across the plains into Levincia, the home of the internet superstar streamer Iono. Peño, what? You never told me you were famous? We set off out of the safety of the city north into the high desert. Here, Arvin tells us of another Titan lurking, but we decide to hold off on investigating that for the time being and instead set our sights on the Dalizapa passage to the north, which looks like it very well could be the entrance to the crater that we're looking for. In order to get there, we head into the Tangle Tree thicket, but as we're entering the forest, we get an unsolicited call from Cassiopeia, who tells us that there's a Team Star base deep within these poisonous woods. Our conversation is interrupted by a strange man and maybe my favorite character in this game, a fellow student named Clive. Clive is a young, cool, hip guy who obviously loves to skateboard and gets mad at his parents from time to time, just like the rest of us fellow kids. He also is definitely not the school director in disguise. This is just a quick aside though, because we leave raiding this base for another day and move out of the thicket back into the desert through the town of Zapaccio and on our way to the home of the ghost type gym leader who claims to be the strongest out there. We continue our trek on day 10, scaling the side of Glaciado Mountain, trying to avoid the very strongest Partha, Prides of Pyroar, Undead Houndstone, and various other deadly creatures that call this mountain home. Suddenly, we slip and fall right into the entrance of the Dalazapa Passage. This is it. This is our ticket to the crater. Look at how close we are on the map. And look at these strong Pokemon. There's Gible, Dino, and Larvitar. This has to lead somewhere important. We spend the bulk of this day exploring the caverns around us, but fail to find any entrance to the crater. It seems that adventure might have to wait. We abandon our hopes of finding the way to Area 0 and get back to scaling the side of this mountain in search of the MC of RIP. We make our way through the snowy slopes, passing all sorts of super powerful ice and ghost type Pokemon until we arrive at the spooky town of Montenevera. Since we're here, we decide to give the gym a shot to get a sense of if this is truly the most powerful gym leader in the region. We head into the gym, then the receptionist tells us that in order to face off against the gym leader, we have to first complete the gym challenge. And that challenge, yeah, it's to be the opening act for the most famous rapper in Paldea. Oh, we don't have to rap, right? Thankfully, there's no music involved. It's just a few double battles on stage before you can fight the gym leader. Unfortunately, we get demolished by the first trainer, so we decide to move on and check out the psychic type gym just to make sure that this is actually the strongest gym in the game. What? No, I'm not scared. No way. On our way out of town, we actually managed to find and catch a level 36 Citadel, which we think might be a strong ally against the higher level gyms. We decide to take a quick break from our silly self-imposed gym challenge and take on a Team Star raid instead. So we fly back to Artazan, which is close to the fire-type Team Star hideout. But before we head in, we catch some backup, namely a Choodle and a water-type Finizen, which we nicknamed Phineas. With our anti-fire helpers, we head over and defeat the guard out front of the lair. To summon the leader, we need to complete a time trial where we murder 30 Team Star Pokemon with ours in the open world. After proving that we're a real threat, the leader of the base, Mela, makes her grand appearance on the back of her gigantic car/Pokemon. Mela leads with a level 27 Torkoal, who proceeds to run train on our team. We do manage to take it out, but at that point we have lost way too many Pokemon to be able to deal with her second Pokemon, which is that gigantic car that she's riding. Down but not out, we refine our strategy, teaching Rain Dance to Tauros, which effectively neutralizes Mela's fire types and allows us to take the fight home against her big bad car. After beating Mela, she hands over her Team Star badge. Then we see a short cutscene of the 5 Team Star bosses discussing their preparations for a big event they call Operation Star. We start making our way over to Alfornada, the home of the Psychic Gym. To get there, we fly back to the school, then head west to the fields surrounding the town of Cortando. Here, there are some low-level Pokemon that we haven't seen before, so we take a break from exploring and continue to fill out our Pokedex, catching some old favorites like Ghastly and Mankey, some new ones like this grumpy Capsakid, and a cute friend Tadpole. We also managed to get our first win in a Terra raid and hit this thing with the meanest sidearm Pokeball throw, securing us a Toedscool. The next day, we spend traversing the treacherous cliffs and sprawling caverns that lead up the side of the mountain to the town of Alfornada. We finally climb our way out of the cavern and behold these muscles! We head in to challenge the Psychic Gym Leader. But before we're able to do that, we have to do the Gym Challenge, which is a 3-stage course on emotional spectrum training. After learning how to express ourselves better, we have our first battle against one of the gym trainers, which goes about how you would expect it to. It's at this point that I realize if I'm gonna take on these high-level gyms, I actually need to build a team equipped to do it. So we take a break from dealing with our feelings and instead start tracking down some potential team members. I'm gonna make a whole other video focused on battling the gyms, so I don't want to get too deep in the sauce here, but the next few days won't make a ton of sense without some explanation. On this day, we start looking for the first potential piece of our elite gym leader kill squad, which is a new Pokemon called Glimmet. Glimmet has a very cool ability called Toxic Debris, which spreads toxic spikes on the battlefield after it takes damage. These spikes poison any Pokemon that comes in after they're laid down. Hopefully it's worth it because we spend the next 8 days searching for this little guy. This search takes us across the map where we gather the tears of a Bonsly for use in some kind of witch's brew later, find a Spiritomb that would rather die than live life in a Pokeball, and on day 25, we finally find our first Glimmet. What? No! we change our course and instead decide to go investigate the last of the 3 gyms we think might be the strongest in the region, the Ice-type gym. We arrive in town, then head into the gym building where we see these 2 absolutely enormous women and know we're definitely in the right place. Thankfully, this gym's challenge doesn't actually involve any battling. Instead, we get to slip and slide our way down a ski hill on the back of Koraidon to earn the chance to battle the gym leader. We head out to the arena to face off against... Wait, you're not the gym leader, are you? Nope, it's actually this cool dude right here, Grusha, whose entire team is level 47, which is higher than any of the trainers we've seen in the other 2 gym challenges so far, so we're pretty sure this is the final gym. We go ahead and take a few shots at this battle and can't even manage to get past his first Pokemon. So over the course of the next 9 days, we build out a team to aid in our quest, then go ahead and attempt this fight over and over. After a while, I decided to take a break from this battle for my mental health and set out one last time to try to find a Glimmet. We scour the caves of Paldea until we get super lucky and finally find not 1, but 2 of the elusive Pokemon. The first of which we managed to catch before it blows itself up. But it's level 44, so we breed it and use its son instead. And now with the power of our new Glimmet, we're finally able to take home our very first gym badge. After the battle, Grusha kinda forces us to take a selfie with him, but what better way to commemorate our monumental victory than by immortalizing his L? After that ridiculous saga, we decide to kick back and take it easy for a bit by heading over to challenge the most powerful member of Team Star. For some reason. The leader Aries' hideout is deep within a remote bamboo forest, and as we're working our way there, we end up evolving Knackley into something that I can only describe as 2 parts Minecraft cow, 1 part Pokemon. Feeling empowered by our new salty steed, Clive and I are able to infiltrate Aries' compound without much resistance and summon the pro wrestling hopeful herself. Aries specializes in fighting types, so we're able to use some ghost types to abuse her AI and absolutely shred through her entire team until we reach her ace Revavroom. Turns out this thing is immune to poison, Leech Seed, Curse, so yeah, I don't think we can win this one right now. We set out to continue our gym challenge, heading over to face the next gym leader on the chopping block, the cosmetics mogul Tulip and her psychic types. We spend the next 8 whole days trying to beat this gym, much like the last one. Right as we hit the halfway mark on our 100-day journey, we're able to use Toxic Spikes from Glimmet and Leech Seed from our cactus to take the fight home. After our victory selfie with the Beauty Queen, we meet a man who looks like the human version of the Brooms from Fantasia, who also turns out to be a member of the Elite Four named Hassel. Thankfully, he doesn't give us too much hassle. So we're able to move on and actually take a break from this ridiculous self-imposed challenge to pick on someone our own size. Our worthy opponent is the Earthworm Titan in the middle of the high desert. At this point, our mind has been hardened in the flames of battle for long enough that this big boy has almost no chance, so after chasing it through some tunnels, we team up with Arven and take it down. Then we secure the Herba Mystica and feed our sandwich to Koraidon, who remembers how to jump higher. And after lunch, Arven finally reveals his dark secret. And boy, is it a dark type Pokemon. This is Mabostiff, my partner. Oh! That's certainly, progressive. It turns out the reason why Arven is going through all this trouble to gather these herbs is to heal his injured friend here. So far it hasn't seemed to do much good, but that doesn't seem to be stopping him from trying. We get back to that whole beating the gyms backwards deal and head up to Montenevera to challenge the ghost-type gym leader MC Rhyme. We fight our way through the double battles of the opening act, then go up against Rhyme's right-hand man, MC Pee Pants. Turn 1, he just self-destructs his Drifblim, and the crowd goes nuts. That is a true entertainer. Anyway, obviously we beat this guy, then earn the right to battle the MC of RIP. But before we can do that, we have a quick warm-up battle with Nimona, and now we're actually ready to fight the gym leader. Listen up, Rhyme, your reign ends here. You're gonna get run up by this pro cashier. Whoa. Bars. Obviously, Rhyme ends this man's whole career, but I'm not sure how impressive it is for a fully grown adult to beat a 14-year-old in a rap battle. This time around, it's a double battle, which definitely complicates things, but overall works in our favor, as we're able to use a Bombostiff of our own to smack down the MC's ghosts, then ignore Rhyme's best attempt at some kind of adorable distraction, and slowly salt her toxicity to death. Now that we've secured 3 gym badges, it should all be downhill from here. Instead of continuing our desecration of the region's gyms, we spend some time exploring and catching some new Pokemon. Then we head over to the Team Star leader Giacomo's hideout on the southern edge of the region's Great Desert, where we fight through the faceless masses of his grunts until he's forced out. Dear God, he's a gamer. Despite the countless hours he spent perfecting his reaction time on the sticks, it seems Big G is actually the weakest member of Team Star, so at this point, it's a pretty easy fight for us. After defeating him, there's another one of those fun flashbacks where we learn that Giacomo used to be the student council president before joining Team Star. Anyway, Clive talks some sense into our new friend, and he gives up his life of crime to rejoin the academy. We head to the desert where we do some training and catch some new Pokemon like Bramblin and Rellor, which is literally just one of those beetles that rolls around a big ball of poo. I don't like it. We also use a Firestone on our Capsakid to turn it into the two-headed fire grass type Scovillain. Then we head deep into the center of the desert where we find the Great Tusk Titan. This is another one of my new favorite Pokemon from this generation, giving Donphan a much needed facelift, but unfortunately this big boy gives us a much less needed beatdown. So we decide to investigate a different Titan and make our way up the side of this mountain while dodging boulders like we're in Bomb-On Battlefield. Eventually, we make it to the top of the hill, destroy this hilariously overgrown bird, and secure the Herba Mystica, which helps Koraidon remember how to swim. We set off on the back of Kodivon to face off against the faceless gym leader of the normal type gym. As we're working our way there, we manage to find and catch a Primeape, which will be a great counter to our normal type foe. We also evolve our Paldea and Wooper into my new best friend, Clodsire, which we nicknamed Clodric, and with Clodric by our side, there's nothing that can stand in our way. So we head into town, then as we're untangling the mystery of the secret menu item for the gym challenge, we evolve our Graveyard into a Houndstone, find all the clues we need to figure out the menu item, order said dish, and watch an absolute horror as the patrons of this restaurant are crushed by this spontaneously appearing battlefield. Still sort of in shock from what we just witnessed, we head in to battle the gym leader. This is the first gym that we actually fight on equal footing in terms of the levels of our Pokemon, so it goes much smoother than the rest. Our ape rips right through his team, then we get our first look at the much anticipated Dunsparce evolution. Wait, it's literally just human centipede Dunsparce. Yeah, that's a miss. Anyway, we're able to finish up the rest of his team without too much more issue, then secure our 4th badge. We head off to take on the water-type gym leader in the great oasis town of Cascarafa. Just as we arrive, the gym leader bolts off saying something about being late for the auction, but it seems he ran off without his wallet, so the challenge for this gym ends up just being us taking his wallet to him. But before we leave town, we decide it's time to upgrade our drip. We snack a Gucci backpack and this super slick and very protective helmet. Unfortunately, it seems that you can't change out of this dorky school uniform, but it is what it is. We head across the desert to deliver the wallet, and right as we arrive and try to give the jolly gym leader his currency container, his overly protective, self-proclaimed best apprentice steps in our way. So we have to give him the old smackdown. Only then can we finally hand over the wallet. But this challenge isn't over yet. From here, Kofu makes us his errand girl yet again and forces us to participate in an auction to try to win his prized ingredient. Ever the champion, we outbid the competition, and Kofu heads back up to his gym to prepare for our battle. Before we take him on, we head back across the desert and train up our team a bit, evolving our Dolive into one of my favorite new Pokemon designs, our Boliva. We're finally ready to face off against Kofu's water types. Since we've taken the Benjamin Button approach to the gyms in this game, this time we're actually battling with a level advantage against the gym leader. So you can imagine how this goes. Now, after locking in our 5th gym badge and snapping this zany pick, Nimona formally introduces us to La Primera, the region's champion. And immediately we're forced into a battle against our rival as our new hero watches from the sideline. This battle goes fine up until Nimona's last Pokemon. What is this move? It always crits and never misses? What is that? I don't know what they were thinking with that one. Anyway, with the help of healing from the old bag, we do secure the victory, and now we know that we need to come correct against Nimona from here on out. We head over to Levincia to take on the next gym leader, Iono. And after being personally attacked multiple times by Iono's dialogue, we get to star in one of her streams, where we play Where's Waldo with the director. Using our keen eyesight, we crush this challenge, then continue the crushing by beating down our severely underleveled celebrity friend. After our victory over Iono, we head to the next gym leader and Artisan. We have another battle with Nimona, in which we get absolutely rolled. Thankfully, we don't have to win this one to move on, but after seeing how strong Nimona was in this battle, we decide to spend days 69 through 74 catching Pokemon and training up our team. In this time, we evolve Toedscool, Knacklestack, Primate, Tinky, holy what in the world is that move, and finish off the evolution extravaganza with Peña, who gets access to its signature move Torch Song on evolution, which has my favorite animation in the game. We head back to Artisan and try our hand at the gym challenge, which has us searching the town for some lost Sunflora. Oh, they're just like right there? Huh. Okay. After wrangling the rogue Flora, we torch Brassius, then after the battle, we meet another member of the Elite Four, which is a literal child? What kind of clown fiesta is this? Next, we head back to the Tangletree Thicket to take down the third Team Star base. Take me to Don Atticus. I owe that man my life. What kind of life-threatening situations are you getting into at 10 years old, and why are you talking like that? Puzzled but intrigued, we defeat this kid, bust through the gate, and commit another mass murder on the Team Star Pokemon population. Then take on the mystery man Don Atticus. The fact that we can't see his face does not stop us from beating it in and getting more lore about Team Star. Seems like they might have been bullied. That sucks. We head back to the desert to take another shot at the Great Tusk Titan. And this time around, we're able to take this oversized elephant down, get the Herba Mystica, which turns Koraidon into Koglidon, and on the way out of the desert, we manage to catch a mini version of our favorite Titan. We decide to head up and take on the 4th Team Star Raid, where we battle against the fairy fighter Ortega. After defeating him and his crew, we learn from the ex-headmaster of the school that Team Star is actually not the bad guys. They were just sticking up for themselves against a group of bullies and got a bad reputation. Next on our agenda is the final gym in Cortando, but before we can fight the leader, we have to take on the most dangerous, the most devious, the most evil gym challenge of them all, the olive roll. No, I did not put those sound effects in. Those are the actual noises this thing makes. Anyway, after successfully olive rolling to victory, we take on the bug-type gym leader Katie, who gets destroyed so bad we can't show it on TV. That victory secures us our 8th gym badge and the right to take on the champion assessment at the Pokemon League. Before we take our test, we decide to head over to the location of the final Titan, where we spend a few days among the trees, training on high-level Pokemon, filling out our Pokedex, and evolving Baxter the Artibax into the pseudo-legendary Baxcalibur. We head down to take on the final Titan, but there's a problem. According to our map, the Titan is supposed to be around this island, but the only thing here are these tiny little fish. Then all of a sudden, we hear a great rumbling coming from deep beneath the water's surface. Oh, seems like we found the Titan. We battle this big fish, then chase it to the cavern that holds the Herba Mystica and defeat it. He's alive! Oh, what? This is a roller coaster of emotion, but thankfully we're able to take down the tiny fish even after it goes into its roid rage. And with the fish out of the way, we secure the final stock of Herba Mystica, which enables Koraidon to become Koklimon and finally heals Arven's Mabostiff. As we're enjoying our lunch, we get a call from Professor Sana, who reconnects with her son Arven and tells him that she's in danger and needs our help. She tells us to head to her lab and give her a call once we're inside. After dealing with some emotional baggage that we definitely did not ask about, we give the professor a call where she tells us she needs us to meet her in Area 0 in the big crater and bring her the Scarlet book that Arven has been using to track down the Herba Mystica. Finally, we get to fulfill our dream of going to the crater. But it's not quite that simple. After convincing Arven to come with us with a quick battle, he tells us that we'll need at least 2 more people to safely travel to Area 0. 1 battling expert and 1 expert hacker. You mean like the only 2 other people we know? Huh. Yeah, I didn't think about them. In order to convince our friends to help, we need to finish up the other 2 storylines, so we head back to the final Team Star base to challenge the leader Aerie once again. But this time it's a fair fight, and after a tight battle, we're just barely able to clutch it out. Then, as we're exiting the base, we learn that, plot twist, Cassiopeia is actually the mysterious boss of Team Star. They formed the group in order to defeat their bullies, but saw how things had gotten out of hand and started Operation Starfall to forcefully disband the group. Cassiopeia then tells us to meet them in the schoolyard after dark to settle things once and for all. Before we uncover the true identity of the big boss, we spend some time in the bamboo forests and northern sea filling out our Pokedex and doing some more training. We decide to check out what this whole champion assessment thing is about, so we head through the gates on the west side of Mesagoza and head up to the home of the Pokemon League. What is this place? Before we're able to battle the League, we have to pass an oral exam. In our first attempt, we easily ace the whole thing, then fail just for telling the truth on the last question. Look, it's pretty hard to love Pokemon when you play it as your job, okay? Anyway, we fail, but head back in and... yes, I like Pokemon. the next part of the assessment is a series of Pokemon battles against the Elite Four. Starting with the weekday black glove wearing Rika, whose ground type Pokemon do manage to give our team some serious trouble, but in the end we come out on top by taking out this Clodric wannabe and its funny little globe hat. Next up is the tiny baby Poppy, and unfortunately for her, she specializes in the steel type, which is hard countered by our current squad. She also managed to steal one of our favorite nicknames, and I can't let that go unpunished, so we swiftly defeat her and move on to the third member, Larry, who you may remember from the normal type gym earlier. But this time, homie has a brand spanking new team composed entirely of flying types. Not too big of an issue for us at this point. The only trouble we get into is against his Ace Flamigo, but we clutch it out. Now we've arrived at the last of the four trainers, the living paintbrush himself, Hassel. Baxter's able to deal with most of his dragons, then we 1v1 his Baxcalibur with our salty Monolith to take home the fight. Now we arrive at the final battle against the champion of the region, Gita. While their team is strong and well-rounded, ours is slightly less well-rounded, but overall stronger, and we're able to secure the victory against her terastallized Ace Glamora. After defeating Gita, we have officially earned the champion rank. Then as we're exiting the Elite Four building, we run into Nimona, who is all kinds of horned up for a battle, but we managed to push her off to another day. After a quick rest, we head over to duke it out with our rival one last time. It's a battle of epic proportions, but we ultimately come out on top, poetically taking out her Meowscarada with a torch song from Peño. Are you good? I really hope this is not her Joker moment. Clive? Wait! Clive was the director the whole time? Before our battle, he also confesses that he's the Team Star leader Cassiopeia, and this legitimately surprised me. I definitely thought it was gonna be the hacker girl. For some reason, the director wants to see these hands, so we happily oblige and barely squeak out a victory. Then after the battle, he confesses that he is actually not the Team Star leader, but the whole Clive thing, that was the truth. And now, I'm just confused. After the battle, he gets carried off for discipline by the school board. We head to the schoolyard to uncover the true identity of the big boss. Oh. Okay, it was Penny the whole time, I'm not stupid. Anyway, we battle Cassiopeia, big boss, Penny, what do I call you? Whatever, we battle her and her evolutions. Then once we defeat Penny, the director brings in all the Team Star leaders, and everyone hugs it out and gets off with a slap on the wrist. After defeating Penny, we get a call from Arvin, where he tells us that he has successfully enlisted the help of an expert battler and an expert hacker, so we're good to go to the crater whenever. Before we head in, I want to make sure that we're fully prepared, so we spend the next few days training and catching Pokemon until we accidentally go through the gate into Area 0. Whoops. We head into the research base in the area, where Professor Sada tells us that in order to reach her, we need to head to the bottom of the crater. Wait, did she just jump? Oh, thank goodness. Anyway, we all load up on Koraidon, then for some reason they almost take off without us, but with the power of slow-mo, we make it on, and we land and... Where's this student council girl? Come on, you know her name! From here, Professor Sada tells us that we need to deactivate 4 locks in the 4 research stations in the crater. Huh, sounds kind of video gamey. Okay, the writing in this game is just going off the rails. What is happening? We ignore the incessant chatter of our companions as we work our way to each of the research stations, and... oh, it's horrible! We battle the various monstrosities that all seem to be coming from the center of the crater, and as we do this, we learn that at the bottom of Area 0, there's a time machine which is the source of all these Pokemon, and these are actually Pokemon from the past. So we battle these ancient horrors until we reach the heart of the crater, then witness a testosterone-fueled mating display between our Koraidon and another wild Koraidon who lives in the crater. Get a room! Finally, we make it to the lab where we meet Sada. Here we learn that this is not actually Sada, the real professor died years ago. Instead, we've been talking to an AI that Sada built in her image to help her with research. This AI tells us that these ancient Pokemon threaten to overrun the region and put the ecosystems off balance, so it wants to deactivate the time machine to stop that from happening. Simple enough, right? So we head down to the location of the machine, but only then does this thing tell us that when we try to turn it off, she's gonna attack us and there's nothing we can do about it. Okay. Your funeral, I guess. We deactivate the machine, then do battle against her squad of ancient hitters, managing to barely secure the win only by putting her Roaring Moon Salamence to sleep and smacking it with some icicles. But the world isn't quite safe yet. At this point, that macho Koraidon from before jumps in to defend the machine, and AI Sada deactivates our Pokeballs. But amazingly, our Koraidon regains its strength and hops into battle to save the day and take out his overly aggressive doppelganger. After defeating these two, AI Sada sacrifices herself and deactivates the machine, and we all lived happily ever after. The end.